Next, I have Mr. Glover Brown.
Give me just a second. I have a little disability, but I'll get there. Glover Brown, Valley High Road, Jefferson City, Missouri. It's always a pleasure to come to speak before this council. I'd like to say one thing in starting out. Councilman Carroll, you are to be commended. I think you have done a good job with all of the constituents that you have in rejuvenating the downtown area. I saw your expose on the news. I think it was quite commendable. And the reason why I say that, this lady here talked about a history. Let me tell you a little bit about a history in Jefferson City. I also heard promises made back in the late 50s and the 60s about the progress that was going to be made in Jefferson City. And it was guised as urban renewal. I watched my father's businesses. I watched our homes. I watched our community completely demolished with the promise that it was going to be better. And what is there today? A tennis court, a softball field, and a lot of empty promises. I think that as you look at the history of Jefferson City, the downtown area, once again, I'm going to commend you because I happen to be a product. If you know the history, you remember where the Woolworth store was downtown? I was part of the era where we couldn't sit at the lunch counter. So you've done great strides. I think Jefferson City has done great strides in planning for the future. Those of you that might see this on television and those of you that might know me personally, I was in a group called Up With People. And one of the songs that we sang is, Gee, I'm looking forward to the future. Gee, I'm looking to the 21st century. Mr. Landwehr, you and I had a conversation about this conference center in 2007. I have a document here where we were being considered for putting in a developer to be considered for the conference center. And I put the question out, you're going to be hard-pressed to the voters to build a conference center in a floodplain. I think we've all forgotten the days when the Capitol Plaza got caught in a flood and they had cars that were parked underneath and they got caught in the flood. I think that Jefferson City is doing a good job in showing a potential for growth. I spoke at a town hall meeting not too long ago, and I made the comment that for the first time in many years, and I go back as far as Mayor Christie, for the first time in many years, we have councilmen who are progressive. We have a city administration who is making bold steps. It's not always easy when you come in with change, because you have to get rid of that old vanguard who wants things to be the status quo. I think the farmers have come up with a plan. I think they have shown a vested interest in the growth of Jefferson City. And what gives me the credentials to say this is that I am the product of Jeffersonians. We have been here since the late 1700s. I've seen where I was going to get on a bus one day, and I was getting on the bus in front of a white lady, and my grandmother said, "Don't you get in front of that white lady." Things have changed. And the only thing that I can relate to is Jefferson City. It's not about whether it's east or south or north or west. It's about what's best for the city. Everybody here was voted into office to vote your conscience. Your constituents, and your conscience. Sometimes it might not go with what your constituents want, because east, west, south, or north, but it's what's good for the whole city. I'm looking at the farmer group. They have shown a vested interest in the growth of this community. Somebody talked about Stone Ridge. They purchased property at the mall. The mall is an area that could support future growth. We not only need a convention center, we need places where people can come and buy suits. Jefferson City's downtown area is very nostalgic. I think it's great. It's nice to see the small shops with the entrepreneurial spirit. But at the same time, we need major retailers. We need people who will come here and invest in the city with jobs, with potential growth. And I think the farmers have a model that if you just look at what they're doing, it's not about east or west, it's not about the mall, it's not about the downtown. What is best for Jefferson City? And I think that as I've come to know most of you, I think that you all will vote your conscience. What is best for the city? Don't look at special interest groups. When you talked about history, like I said, downtown has come a long way. I used to give talks on Black history in Jefferson City at Elias in Sister Valeria's class. And some of the students were just amazed. That happened here in Jefferson City? Yeah. And so now I can clearly say to you, Mr. Mayor, that is all in the past. I am proud to be a Jeffersonian. I have traveled the North American continent. I've been a nightclub entertainer. I've performed with international recording artists. And everybody says, Glover, why do you keep going back to Jefferson City? And like my ancestors before me that came here in the late 1700s, this is my home. I want to see my home. I want to see it in all of the glory that is potentially there. And like I said, I think the farmer group has shown, demonstrated time and time again, that they have a vested interest in this community. And so I think if you just look at what you have, I think you'll probably vote for the mall site. Thank you for your time.
Mr. Brown, thank you for being here, and thank you for everything that your family's done for our community. Next, Mr. Darrell Winiger.
Thank you, Mayor, Council. Darrell Winiger, currently residing at 723 Turnberry Drive. Thank you for continuing to reach out to the public to hear what everybody really wants to say about these two sites. I'd like to echo a little bit of what former Mayor Schreiman pointed out earlier, is that this topic seems to have been loaded a little bit with local color, or it almost feels divisive, like you have to pick a team in this. And that's unfortunate, because I think everybody here is very motivated and we want a convention center. We believe that the conference center will be a strong economic component to our entire city, not just one area or another. The individuals that have revitalized our downtown should be commended for the outstanding job that they've done. It's an outstanding district, and it continually improves. I am here to support the West End and the mall site for the convention center, because I believe our city, looking forward, can be more than a one-horse town. There's no questions that our downtown is one of the most, or the ultimate dynamic that we share today. But with as much respect as I have for the history and the stories that we hear, I have to also focus on a couple simple points. The future going forward, that with the development, the economic vitality that a convention center can bring to this community, with the recommendation from a professional consultant based solely on this topic making his choice, with a strong, motivated local business, local developer who will be behind it, I have to allow, as much as I like multiple sites and I respect the individuals involved, the strength and the economics involved of it, the ability to perform with less subsidies, the ability to continue over the next 10 to 20 years to grow economically what this city can produce, I support the mall site. Thank you for your time.
Gerald, thank you for being here tonight. Next, have Mr. Jason Lubring, also an entertainer, by the way. Jason, welcome, sir.
Oh, thank you very much. Mayor Strumpf, council members, Councilor Hilpert, city staff members, fellow citizens and friends, thank you so much to the city as well for this open process. I work here in Jeff City, grew up in Jeff City, actually currently reside in the village of Wardsville with my wife and our 4 children. First and foremost, again, I'd like to give a sincere thank you for your time and your dedication and service to the city of Jefferson during this exciting time regarding the potential convention center. It's great to know that we have a council, as councils in the past, mayors of the past, putting in the time and diligence into making the right decision for the city and moving forward and not just looking in the past. In my opinion, the Farmers Group plan for the convention center will undoubtedly bring life ongoing opportunities for the city. Being a father of 4 children, my wife Jill and I look at Jefferson City as home. We always have. And we want that to thrive so that when generations to come are looking at their next move, that they will look to their home right here in Jefferson City as the place that they want to come back to. Last night after dinner, we were discussing the plans for the convention center with our kids, and their faces lit up when we explained to them the possibilities of what could be happening at the mall and or the downtown site. And their faces just lit up with the glow of the excitement of the change and the things that could be happening in our city. And yes, the same glow in the way that they are whenever they do visit the Capitol and such, which are great assets to this town. There's been so much talk of this convention center over the past years, decades, as we've heard. And now we have a viable plan right here in front of us from a highly motivated group rooted right here in Jefferson City that will synergistically accomplish with the city all of the goals laid out and offer even greater opportunity to expand that over time. Who wouldn't want to have families that are directly involved, dedicated and passionate about seeing this through for the city of Jefferson, directly involved, hands-on, wanting to see this through? A track record of continual success is nothing to turn our heads away from, and there's no doubt that given the opportunity that these passionate, family-oriented people involved would put their plan into place, make it a success that we could all be proud of and enjoy as a great asset, further accenting the positive and smart growth in Jefferson City. Add that to the fact that the site has been highly recommended, and it's the only plan that requires no annual subsidy from the general fund. What is not in this plan that will not have a positive economic development impact in terms of new development and job creation and the potential for future development? We're at the pinnacle of what is a real opportunity with legs to enhance the city. I do not use the word ours lightly, as again, this includes the folks along with their children and their children's children that are directly hands-on involved with this project. My opinion is that we would be turning our heads from a great opportunity if we were to pass on their proposal and not make the most of the energy that is behind it. The Capitol and MSP are great assets, and they're awesome things to have here, and we're proud of those in Jeff City. For many visitors, are they going to be a repeat visit, or are they going to be a one-time experience if they come to Jefferson City and they go to the Capitol and they go to MSP? Those are great check marks, but are they going to do that every time they're playing at a convention? Are they going to go visit those every time? And the fact of the matter is they are a 10-minute drive, whether it be a commute on a bus or a shuttle ride. You know, if you go to San Antonio, you're not necessarily staying at the Alamo. You drive downtown and you get to go see the Alamo. We have those assets. They're a short drive away. We're not a far commute. They're wonderful assets, and I don't think that having the convention center at the mall is going to stop people from going to those sites and or going downtown to spend time and money in our wonderful downtown area. Repeat customers and visitors, isn't that more of the focus as far as what this convention center is about? We want to make this an enduring success, and therefore I feel what will keep those people coming back, I think it's what will keep them coming back, are the fresh ideas and the passionate creativity that the Farmers Group has to offer, and they've shown. Why not give someone with a track record of success rooted right here in our own hometown the opportunity to make this dream actually happen for the city of Jefferson? Thanks again for your tireless efforts and the dedication to our awesome city. This is undoubtedly an exciting period of time for the city of Jefferson. Your diligence in making decisions that will impact future generations is greatly appreciated. Whatever decision that is, my hope is that we continue to move forward with a sound plan for the city's convention center. Thanks for this opportunity to speak, and God bless.
Jason, thank you. Appreciate it. Next, I have Western District Commissioner, Mr. Chris Shepperly. Chris, welcome.
Good evening, Mayor, Council. Thank you for the long evening that you've delving into here. Just wanted to make a few points here. I am here in support of the farmer company's proposal. Just a few things and reasons why. First of all, farmer companies are a local company. All the money that we would spend locally would stay locally and be reinvested locally. I think that's very important in all projects that we do, that we try to keep our dollars local. Just another thing, they are a very successful company. They have numerous companies throughout Jefferson City, their quarries, their sand operations, and all those companies have lots of employees with good paying jobs, and it's important that we have those jobs here in our community. We need jobs. And then lastly, the farmer companies is a developer, but I look at them as an economic development partner. They have done so many great things throughout this town with the Dick's Sporting Goods and the Kohl's, and so they've really gone out and they've brought those companies here to our community, and those companies have come and they've created more jobs, and that's great for our community, and that's great for growth. So in conclusion, I'd just like to say I think the farmer companies is the best option for our community, and I hope you give it some consideration. Thank you.
Thank you, Chris, for coming tonight. We appreciate it and appreciate your partnership that we have with you in the county. Next, I have Mr. Randy Haight. Welcome, Randy.
Thank you for allowing me to speak. I'm Randy Haight, 3463 Hobbs Lane, and I'm representing the Hobbs Lane neighbors. This is a letter that we'll be submitting to the council tomorrow when all of us have had a chance to sign it. As the residential area most affected by your decision in selecting a site for the conference center, we would like to express our deep concern over the proposed mall site. The plan includes a 6-story building far taller than any other building in the area that will affect many of our views, as well as create an unwelcome atmosphere in our neighborhood. The project's proposed location on mall property is on the side of the mall closest to our homes. With the size and openness of the mall property, was any effort made to keep it away from the adjoining residential area? All other sides of the mall are next to other commercial areas. Traffic will increase on residential streets, which further diminishes the quality of our location, as well as being a safety concern for our neighborhood children. In addition to negatively impacting a residential area, a conference center at the mall throws its support behind primarily national chains instead of local businesses, and puts unnecessary distance between guests to our city and Jefferson City's most salient tourist attractions. The proposed shuttle service is not an adequate solution to housing visitors across town from tourist destinations. Many visitors will automatically dismiss a shuttle as inconvenient. It's common sense that a tourist spot within walking distance of a conference center or hotel will be visited more often as opposed to a site that requires visitors for a shuttle and be constrained by its schedule. As our representatives, and because we are the only private residential citizens directly affected by this decision, please give the serious weight to our words that they deserve. Carefully consider our concerns and do not support the mall location. Please protect our neighborhood from encroaching commercial areas. A conference center would be a beautiful addition to our city. Just please don't do it at the expense of our neighborhood. And I have numerous people from our community neighborhood that have signed and will continue to sign. Thank you for your time.
Randy, thank you very much for coming tonight. Next, I have Jordan Wilson. Good evening, Jordan.
Hello, everyone. My name is Jordan Wilson. I live at 318 Jefferson in the Schmidt Building downtown. I'm Jefferson City resident. This is my first City Council meeting to share my perspective. I'm 23 years old. I moved to Jefferson City in August of 2012, but I've worked here since the fall of 2011. I've worked on the west end of town, and I've also worked on the east end. I've attended West End Business Association meetings, as I've also attended the Downtown Association meetings. I've lived in 2 different locations since moving here, both downtown. By not being a lifelong resident of Jeff City, I feel that I am more capable of looking at the issue at hand objectively, as I don't have any real ties to either party, and I do not stand to personally gain from a convention center being established at either location. I just see the need to come before you all as a local young professional, and as someone who sees the greater potential in that of a downtown convention center. Having traveled to events on the East and West Coast, I can tell you what people my age demographic like to see when they visit a new place. We value uniqueness. We don't want to visit a chain store or a restaurant that can be found anywhere. Show us something different. Let us experience something new. If I'm in a town on business and I have the choice between Longhorn or a place that has been locally established, a hometown favorite like Madison's or Eris's, I'm going to pick the place that is exclusive to that town every single time. Downtown is Jefferson City's sweet spot. It sets us apart from other major cities. We have the historic prison, Loman's Landing, Old Munichburg, and the state capitol. I'm not even going to try to name all the local businesses. People will fall in love with downtown. They are more likely to see it with a convention center there. What are they going to love on the West End? While I appreciate that the farmers are a local family trying to improve the commerce of our town respectively, I just can't ignore the fact that the location is not the most desirable for promoting Jefferson City's uniqueness. So the question City Council needs to answer and think about upon voting on such an issue is, do you want to keep the young professionals here, or do you want to lose them? The convention center is going to bring them here, and our charm and matchlessness is going to make young people want to come back, want to spend money here, want to live here. Maybe they'll bring their families and establish themselves, their life here like I have. Thank you.
Jordan, thank you very much. Next, I have Scott Bettany. Welcome, Scott.
Thank you. My name is Scott Bittney. Address is 546 Gascony. I'm a non-resident of Jefferson City. I work for a company called L3 Corporation. We're a commercial real estate company based out of St. Louis. We represent roughly 40 to 50 national retailers throughout the company. I've worked with the farmers in the past and the present on projects like Stone Ridge Village. I would like to commend the council on the foresight to do a conference center. I think it sets you apart from Columbia and Osage Beach, and it's something to be commendable. Jefferson City is seen as a town of roughly 100,000 people trade area, which is somewhat small for some retailers. With the addition of the conference center, retailers and restaurants alike we'll relook at Jefferson City as a possible opportunity to expand. Those restaurants like Olive Garden, Red Robin, Carrabba's that have turned us down in the past, with this added amount of consumers, could revisit Jefferson City. The Capitol Mall site allows those retailers and restaurants to expand and add jobs, add sales tax revenue, and create kind of a shining star in Jefferson City. We've done some good things with Stone Ridge Village, and we'd like to continue to build on that with the property around Stone Ridge Village, or excuse me, Capitol Mall. I saw on several boards, including the International Council of Shopping Centers, we have roughly 15 conventions all around the country, ranging from 50,000 people to 2,000 people. The biggest thing that people want to see is restaurants and shopping and entertainment around their site. Capitol Mall offers the best opportunity to give those future convention goers the ability to have the restaurants, retailers, and entertainment on the site. Thanks for the time. I appreciate it.
Scott, thank you for coming tonight. Next, I have former councilman Jim Pinfold. Jim, welcome back, sir. Good to see you.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor and members of the council. I also want to echo the thanks that have been given to you for putting up with this process. Probably more so than some of the rest of you here. I understand the pain and the pressure that goes through this. I spoke to you on September 19th, 2013 at a public meeting regarding the conference center, and at that time I supported the downtown location. I still favor that location. I'll be honest with you, one of the main reasons that caused me to come back tonight was the full-page ad today in the News Tribune. Having gone through the difficult process of making decisions, sitting in the chair over here where Mr. Mihailovich is sitting at this point, listening and going through and searching my conscience, searching the facts and so on and so forth, I know it is a difficult process that you have before you and a very difficult decision. And I will state that, as my opinion, I think the ad today did exactly what some people here have said that they do not want to see, and that created divisions. It put unnecessary pressure on you in this decision, and I am sorry for that, and I empathize and sympathize with you for your next several days with respect to your telephone, email, and other contacts. Having said that, the city has had 2 consultants in the last 6 or so years regarding the conference center. Garfield Traub was a consultant hired by the city and worked with the city for several years and supported the downtown location through its work and effort. Johnson Consulting has been hired more recently to take a look at the different sites. Johnson Consulting supports the mall location. I'm not here tonight to suggest you hire a 3rd consultant as a tiebreaker. I think it is time to make the decision now. The newspaper quoted Charles Johnson of Johnson Consulting, stating that both sites are equally good from an attractiveness standpoint. However, the mall site is favored because the deal structure is cleaner and simpler. I submit to you that the question is not what is the deal structure. I submit to you that the question is what is better for the long-term economic benefit of Jefferson City. Cleaner and simpler is not necessarily better. Ask yourself, how many cities across this nation have an aging mall that's in need of renovation? The question is probably how many cities across this nation have malls. The other thing is how many cities have malls that are actual tourist destinations. There are some, but we're not looking at a situation where someone is going to create another Mall of America. Then ask the question, how many cities across this country have a state capitol 2 blocks away from an attractive conference center, convention center site? The answer to that is at most 50. And having been in many of the state capitals, I can tell you that in reality, there's probably less than 50 because of the situation and circumstances in the downtown locations of those cities. The Conference Convention Center at Broadway and West McCarty supports the main customer, that is state government and the associations and the organizations that want to interact with state government. It supports the continued improvement of our historic downtown, and it will support the redevelopment of the St. Mary's Health Center site and the Mill Bottom properties that are immediately adjacent. Additionally, as the Conference Center planners say, the downtown location is favorable. I urge you to select the downtown location. Thank you.
Jim, thank you, and once again, welcome back. Next, I have Terry Crouch. Is that correct? Terry, welcome, sir.
I'm Terry Crouch, and I live at 919 Marquesson Drive in Columbia. I'm not a resident of Jefferson City, but I'm an investor in Jefferson City. My partner and I invested in a store in the mall based on the growth visions of the new owners, Farmer. So far, we have not been disappointed in our decision to invest in Jefferson City. The attraction of a conference center at the mall site offers many obvious advantages to the mall, but it does not ignore the downtown. Growth outside the immediate downtown is important and would significantly add to the overall attractiveness and vibrance of Jefferson City. Locating the center at the mall would certainly allow it to expand and grow, but the proposal does not ignore the opportunity that a conference center brings to businesses and attractions downtown. As the conference center grows, and it would, there are, as noted in the mall proposal made last week, significant areas adjacent to the proposed conference center that are available to allow for growth. An important consideration. The added enticement of a conference center would attract bigger name stores to the mall, adding to its attraction. This growth would bring with it increased tax revenues and significant job growth into the city beyond that just attributed to an additional conference center. The mall proposal also recognizes the opportunity a conference center at the mall brings to help traffic downtown to downtown businesses and attractions. This is a key difference. The mall proposal provides for attendees and their spouses to visit downtown venues as well as those at the mall by providing shuttle bus services from the proposed mall site to downtown business areas and attractions. I would also comment that references have been made to how do you transport many people the 10 or however long it takes to get from the conference center at the mall to downtown. I have visited many conference centers in many cities. If you try and compare one of the major conference centers in this general area in Chicago, McCormick Place is some 25 to 30 minutes from the downtown. They transport 30,000 people between the downtown and the conference center itself. So the challenge of providing transportation for attendees to a conference center to downtown is a relatively simple challenge. Thank you very much for your time, and we hope you will support the mall position. Thank you.
Thank you for coming tonight. Is there another Tom Smith here, or do we have one that signed up twice? I'm assuming we had one sign up twice. Okay, next I have Heath Thomas. Is that correct? Heath. And next we'll give the developers a chance to say anything if they would like, and then Drew's going to finish us up. Don't have to, but if you want to say something as the developer, you can. Is there anyone else that would like to speak? Glenn, I have you down. Anyone else? Seeing none, Glenn will be our last speaker from the public. Okay. Mr. Thomas, you have the floor.
Heath Thomas, 2205 Philo Road. I don't live in Jefferson City any longer. I have lived in Jefferson City, and I've also lived in Columbia. I am with Goodrich Quality Theaters. We have the Capital 8 and formerly had the Capital 4 site. I'm a regional manager. I cover 9 buildings in 3 states, from standalone buildings to mall sites. I'm here to support the farmers. We've just become partners because they've purchased the mall. For many years, Capitol Mall has played second fiddle to the mall in Columbia. I travel to both cities. I see the same faces in Columbia at the mall as I see on the street down here. In my opinion, and in our company's opinion, the city of Jefferson City would be best served by getting their convention center, the conference center, and revitalizing the retail and working with a local company and trying to attract some of the thousands of cars that travel to and from Columbia every day, coming to the office here and then going home in Columbia. Why are so many people living in Columbia and not Jefferson City? I'm sure that there's been studies done there. Make your town more attractive, do the conference center, and support the retail at the mall. Thank you.
Thank you, Heath. I understand someone had signed up, but we missed her by chance, Miss Judy Howard. Judy, welcome. Thanks, Carrie. It's a magic of texting.
Hi, thank you very much. The first thing I want to say is that I'm from Sappy's in downtown. We're 90 years in business. We're an old establishment. We do own the building downtown. Basically, what my father probably would have said was, many years ago, 30 years ago, a handshake said it all. So back then, 30 years ago, you could shake your hand and it would be right. Nobody would say, oh, second thought on this. Oh, let me change my mind. No contracts, nothing. Handshake. Well, the people voted. It was proposed and set up that downtown was the place for the convention. So now, handshakes, proposals, everything else, nothing counts anymore, right? Because we sold it as that. So now the situation becomes, well, what are we going to do? We're going to come back to basics again, do what's right for the community? Or are we going to take that piece of pie that is 9 inches, slice it 1/8 of an inch, and just keep giving it away? And is the community going to grow? Is the community going to grow? That's just it. You have to stop and think about it. Downtown is the place I think it should be, because it's where everything is. And I agree with everybody about the structure of the traffic and everything else on that road. Who's going to pay for it? So I think everybody needs to stop and get back to the basics. If you have to put it aside and do another study on it, I think you should. Basically, the whole proposal, for the mall and for the downtown. We need it downtown just because it is there, and you said you were going to do it. That's it. I mean, the people voted. You want the people to vote again? Let the people vote again. But I think the people in Jefferson City would be very disappointed to have to vote again on something they voted for once. Thank you.
Judy, thank you for being here. Next, I have Glenn Costales. Glenn, welcome back.
Thank you, and thanks for adding me late. You guys are getting tired of seeing me, I know. Just a few things. I recommend all of you on your computers type in your search engine the name Steve Malanga, M-A-L-A-N-G-A, and conference centers, and read what he has to say about conference centers. 4 people tonight mentioned the ads that led up to the vote. 2 of them are attorneys, and surprising they didn't mention the fact that, if you're buying a house and I like that table, unless it's in the contract, it doesn't count. And when the people voted, the language they voted on, shall the city of Jefferson levy a tax of 7% on each sleeping room occupied and rented by transient guests of hotels and motels located in the city, where the proceeds of which shall be expended for the promotion of tourism. It doesn't say building a conference center. It doesn't say build a conference center at Site A or Site B or Site C. You guys have to make that decision. You have a big decision to make on Monday, the mall area, downtown area, or punt. And I know you guys are looking forward to getting some good REM sleep on Tuesday. So that's all I got for tonight. Thank you.
What is that? Sleep. Thank you, Glenn. Next, do our developers have anything at all that they'd like to share? They don't have to, but Drew just reminded me that we gave them the opportunity the other day if they'd like to tonight.
Appreciate it, Mayor, Council. We, the reason why we wanted to just say a few words, and we plan to conclude the process on Monday night with some remarks, but I just want to echo what many said before us here, is that this should not be a divisive issue, and we do not see it that way. We realize there's two outcomes on Monday night, and one outcome would mean that we would get a chance to start on Tuesday, and one would mean that the other group would, and that would be okay. And we can promise everyone here on the council and watching on TV that we will work with you whether we are awarded the project or not, because one thing that we all do believe in here, and I've talked to many who don't share the same view on site that we do through this process, and that is we're all here tonight because we care about the city, and that's our main goal and our only goal. And we feel like this project, regardless of where it could end up, would be a positive for our city. That's the only reason why we've spent the hours with you all to try to make it happen. So we just thank you for the process. We put the ad in the paper today because we would really like to sit down with every Jefferson City citizen and talk through our plan, because there is tax dollars at stake, and those are their tax dollars. And unfortunately, time doesn't allow us to do that. And some of them would probably not let me in their front door if I knocked on it. So we're just trying to communicate our plan the best that we know how, and we want the voters to decide, and they're going to decide through you who they elected to make that decision, and we just appreciate you taking the issue up. Thank you very much.
If I could just add one remark, I think Rob pretty much carried everything, but we really just hope that we move forward and we don't punt. We've been punting for 80 years, and this city clearly wants to see a convention center. We all don't agree on where it should be. I like the downtown site. We just don't think it's economically feasible. But we want it to move forward. And if that's downtown, if we choose to go downtown, great. If we choose to go at the mall, great. But it's just really the next step. This isn't the final decision. So we really hope that we get the chance to move forward and discuss with you all how to make that happen. But ultimately, we live here, and we want to see growth in this community, and we just want to see it happen. So thank you all. Have a good night.
Thank you, gentlemen. Trey, did you have anything to add at all? Welcome, sir.
My name is Trey Probst. I've been a resident of Jefferson City for almost 20 years now. I live on Capistrano Drive on the west end. And I'm going to move around this way if you don't mind, because I wanted to look at everybody who's actually out here. Because I see a lot of faces I recognize.
Hey, Trey, if you want to, grab that mic, do your Elvis impersonation.
Pretty loud
there
without
you
it,
go.
though. I see a lot of people I recognize.
There you go.
And a lot of people probably recognize me over the 20 years that I've been here. I did not know, and I learned today, this gentleman may be the best orator in the building. Very nice. Where I was from in Oklahoma, we had Up With People when I was in high school, and I had no idea of that either. So very nice. Charter member. I look around and I see people that I know, and I've known them for 20 years. I've been told there's an ad in the paper. I didn't see it. I apologize. I was in St. Joseph, Missouri all day and got here as quickly as I could this evening. But I want to ensure people that the ties of both groups are local. The 20 years that I've spent here, I've had 2 jobs. This hotel, the one that I run for the Earharts here in town, is my second job that I've had while I've been here in Jefferson City. So if people don't recognize me, maybe you would recognize me from Trinity Lutheran Church, where I've been a deacon for over 7 years. I get to speak and the Lord's Word about every 4 Sundays there at church, so you can come by and see that. I don't know if me speaking it's any good, but you'll catch me there, I promise you. Local. My daughter goes to school at Simonson. Up until now, when she's worn her uniform, it said Trinity Lutheran Church and School. This year, though, she's going to proudly put on a Jays uniform when she takes the court for Lady Jays basketball. When my oldest daughter graduates this year, she'll have spent her entire life in Jefferson City, and her diploma is going to say Jefferson City High School, same as Kirk's diploma said. So I assure you I'm local. There's probably some people even sitting on the council who weren't born here, but you've probably been here long enough where this is home. So I chose to live here, and I've chosen, sometimes I wonder why now, to put myself through this and put myself out like this for the proposal that we believe is the right one. The city, 5 years ago when we came to it, we had council members. I don't know that I recognize all, but maybe just a couple. One of them is now our mayor. The other one is Miss Carol there. And I think those are the only council members that were here initially when we came to the city concerning the conference center. The rest of it has changed. We've been through three.
Oh, just so you know, Scrivener was here too.
Yep, thank you. We've been through three city administrators. We've been here through 2 mayors, all talking about a conference center. You heard a lot of eloquent words today from people who I'll never be able to speak as well as they do. And you heard people talk about in favor of one proposal or another. I want to center it on a specific group of people, if you don't mind. Both of the proposals ask for a TIF. The TIF on the downtown site, we can only TIF ourselves as it sits right now. We can only say, hey, we're willing to do a TIF on our own property. That TIF, just like the lodging tax, will be largely paid for by people from outside of our community, not local citizens. That group is the group I'd like to focus on, because 66% of the people who were surveyed said, please put the conference center downtown. Of the remaining 34%, if I'm not 100% correct, I believe it was 18% wanted a mall site. The other 18%, as Mr. Hussey did so well, said, well, let's split that down the middle. Let's take 9 and go over to the mall, and let's take 9% and go over to the downtown site. So almost 75%, one could say, people surveyed, those people who will pay to come to our city, who will leave their tax dollars behind, said, we prefer a downtown site. They prefer that downtown site because when they come to Jefferson City, they want to see the uniqueness of Jefferson City. I love Longhorn Steakhouse. I love it whether I'm in Jefferson City, Columbia, St. Louis, Kansas City, or anywhere else they might be. But I expect that when I go to a Longhorn Steakhouse. When I come to some place like Jefferson City, I want to see the unique things that Jefferson City has to offer. We can find those at the downtown location. I said just 2 days ago, I don't have anything negative to say about the farmers. It's been 2 more days and I still don't. I still think they are great business people, as are those people that I work for. The families are so similar, it's almost scary, and how they've worked hard and gotten where they are because of that hard work. So when you take a look at it and you listen to what the experts have said, as Mr. Penfold pointed out, one said Garfield Traub. Garfield Traub said put it downtown. Mr. Johnson said put it out at the mall. Mr. Johnson also said that the proposals were almost equal, with some slight differences, that the people at the mall had figured out the economic portion of it. And I agree, they have. Through a TIF, they can do what they say they'll do. Downtown, when you selected that as one of your 2 preferred sites, you knew that there was more work that had to be done, work that a developer really couldn't do, work that is still there to be done, or at least to be explored before you move on. So we appreciate your time, Mr. Mayor, Council, and especially everybody who has come out and who's probably getting a little bit hungry now. We appreciate the time of everybody who's had anything to do involved with this. We are looking forward to moving forward. We do wholeheartedly agree it is not punt. Please don't punt. Move forward with proposals or however you wish to do so, and let's get this show on the road. Thank you.
Trey, thank you. I want to thank everyone for being here tonight. Before we adjourn for the evening, Drew's got a couple quick words as far as how things will work at our meeting Monday night, as we call here, Big Monday.
Yep. Just wanted to go through it with everybody. We did put this at the beginning of the agenda because we know there'll be a lot of people interested, and you may not want to sit through some, fairly trivial contract stuff. So the first thing on the agenda will be just me probably making the same kind of speech. The second thing will be an opportunity for the public to speak again. Typically, before we vote on bills, we allow public comment. But since we're doing it at the beginning, we wanted to put it up front so that anyone else who wants to speak can speak. After that, there'll be council discussion and debate. We did identify there could be questions for the developers if they're here and willing to answer. And then finally, we'll take a vote on each proposal, up or down. And of course, the council can make whatever motions they feel are appropriate as well. But we do have on the agenda that we'll vote. I believe it was the Earharts first and the Farmers second, only because that's the way the proposals came in. And then we'll have our direction from there. So,
all right. With that, no one knows this because we've had a few closed-door meetings, but in our closed-door meetings so far, we've had somewhat of a tradition. And about the time the meeting's over, I look at Ralph and say, Ralph?
Move to adjourn.
All those in favor, please say aye. All opposed, same sign. Thank you very much for coming and being interested in this great project.